Hey guys, good morning. It's Monday morning. You can certainly tell that. Today is Monday and it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. Very excited to have Jason Schofield on with HIVE VOC. Had some technical difficulties this morning. I guess everybody and their brother decided it was a good time to go live. And so that's sort of where we're at today. So I'm going to share the show really fast. Welcome, Jason. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk. We just had a quick little talk beforehand. Excited to talk about that. Excited to talk about HIVE VOC. So tell us, but we want to always start with origin stories. So tell us a little bit about you, your beginnings, and maybe how you got to HIVE VOC.
Absolutely. So I'm a chef and restaurateur. That's my background. I started off in the restaurants when I was a wee little whippersnapper. Started washing dishes and then worked my way up from there. When I played football, it was a job that I could have during off seasons and things. And then I took it seriously about 2003. And then since then, I've been a private chef for Andre Balazzo under the Standard Hotels, to corporate chef for Delaware North, to owning my own restaurant group, and then being everything in between. So I pivoted about 4.5 years ago and started a HIVE, and just wanted to be the ambassador, I guess, and help the smaller restaurants do what the bigger ones do, because behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff that they're able to do and offer to them that a lot of the mom and pops and the smaller ones don't know. And that's where we pivoted.
So I want to talk a lot about HIVE VOC, especially in what's going on in the world with the quarantine and lockdown and all that good
Absolutely.
stuff. Tell me about the impetus though. So you wanted to do it. Was there a moment in time where you said, all right, this is enough. We should be taking care of our small restaurants as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So there was being a corporate chef for Delaware North, you are behind there and you're negotiating contracts, distribution agreements for these big venues and these big spaces. And you see that there's rebates and that there's deviations. And then there's these other discounts from, group purchasing and all these, everything else that these big conglomerates are participate in. But the mom and pops are available, but you don't hear about them because typically we build relationships, even myself, with my local produce guy or my food purveyor that I know, or my guy that sells me my merchant service or my insurance. It's all kind of like close knit, but they are salespeople and they need to make their money, but the same deals for them was there. So when I sold and closed my restaurants, I was going to have some technology, and we made an online training platform, and then we pivoted, and then I was like, right, well, the mom and pops need to take advantage of this. And then we pivoted everything. Instead of just becoming a consultant, we went to be a virtual consultant, and a bunch of, per se, busy bees in the background, putting all these deals and contracts and these relationships that I already had and that are already out there, and wanted our mom and pops and our brick and mortars to participate in all the deals sweet as honey. And that's kind of where we pivoted. And now it is all just participation based. You never will pay HIVE VOC. A bill will never send you an invoice. How we make ours is it's the more volume that we have in the group purchasing. There's $17 billion in there, that when you are able to, the more volume I add, the better we can negotiate contracts, the better the group can better negotiate contracts. And that lets the mom and pops and then the single units to 5 units participate. And we have clients all the way from PDQ to Glory Days down to a single unit to hotel groups and everything in between. We don't just deal with mom and pops, but we take those same deals and we leverage them.
So it must have been interesting for you. I love the concept, by the way. I love what you're doing. I think that's so cool because it's a conduit. You guys are really acting as a place where people can go and get the better deals, obviously, that they wouldn't be able to get at other places, which is sort of sometimes the problem, because a lot of the larger places obviously buy in volume, and the smaller places can't buy that kind of volume to get that kind of deal or that kind of discount. So what happened when everything started to shut down? Talk about how I'm sure you guys had to pivot again, and you had to really rethink how you were going to help, because you guys are all about helping, how you were going to help especially the smaller restaurants.
So it was kind of scary for us because we saw this unfolding a little bit before the the regular mom and pops, and then the smaller restaurants, because our supply chains, we work with everybody in the supply chain from the manufacturers down. And we started seeing, and then how they're not going to order and replenish this. They're not going to do these things. This is final and all that. So it kind of really, it kind of put a ripple through us, and we had to figure out a way to reach back out to our members and say, hey, look, guys, this is what's going to come down. This is what's in the pipeline. You know, be weary of it. And then, you know, the governor, he shut down everything. And it was just, you know, it's kind of like you're in a holding pattern. So it gave us time it was a blessing in disguise. It gave owners the time to all those things that they were putting off and that they weren't doing, and that all those projects, because they're too busy working in their business and not on their business, they actually had the time to follow up. So we got to follow up on our deviations. We got to follow up. So, you know, those things that they were putting off because they didn't have time, now they came back and said, hey, Jason, how can we participate? Or hey, Sean, or hey, Kat, anyone that was on our team, they were reaching out and saying, hey, how do we take advantage of these things now? And now, because they now know that they're going to make it through this, and what's their cash position 30, 60, 90 days out. So it's a lot of misinformation, a lot of hype, a lot of worrying about it. And it's a very real thing. Yes. But the misinformation about kind of like what it does and how it is, and just the not knowing, I think, is what's worse for our industry as a whole than what actually is happening with it.
So how are you helping them now? You know, you've got you and I are both on a whole bunch of restaurant foodie groups.
Yeah.
We see the struggle. We see them. Everybody's sort of also made a shift or a pivot to curbside, and some have even gone to delivery of their own. Yep. It's fascinating how quickly I feel like the industry did respond. Yes. But I'm sure that there are things that are going on behind the scenes that you guys are seeing, maybe ways that you could help them even during this time.
Absolutely. So the easiest way that we're able to help anybody is we take the money that the broad line your purveyors are taking, you participate, and then we make sure that money goes to you. So rebates are our easiest way to set up. That's 1% to 2%. Everybody can get rebates. They're from the manufacturer. They want to give it to you. If you leave it with your distributors, that's their money. That's how they fatten their pockets. They call it the slush funds. There's a bunch of different names they call it, but that's your money. That's one way. The second way is that we have programs. We have FICA tax credits that you can get $543 per employee, and then the employee takes an extra $50 to $150 a home by participating. And in a video that they watch through Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's something simple. We have other ways. If you have DirecTV, we have national accounts with DirecTV where you're going to save 20 to 25% off your NFL Sunday ticket, your bills. We end up essentially cutting out the middleman on every one of those deals. So if you are looking at payroll, we are our own merchant service provider. So we take out the salesman and we take out the district manager, and you're participating with the deals with manufacturers or with corporate. So every single thing that the top five we like to call up, we like to do rebates, your merchant services, your gas bill we can cut in half because we are partnered with third-party providers, same thing, group purchasing, and your payroll, PEO, and just those five things. But everything else, we own our own print shop. We own our own social media arm, where we own our own commercial real estate brokerage. We are licensed in the state of Florida. We are a mortgage broker. We can give direct lending. There's so many different things. One of our great partners there in Orlando is the Orlando Law Group. She has 4 offices there, and she is able to help with the SBA loans, the PPP loans, and then any of your legal services with your leases. The only thing that we don't touch, and I don't mean this in a bad way, the only thing that we don't touch is water, electric, or alcohol. We have deals or contracts with everybody else. And it's everybody that you participate with. Everybody from DigiPro Media in the state, the FRLA, the National Restaurant Association. You asked me, and I apologize. Save Small Businesses US is a way that you can go and register your business and let people know that you're open. We're behind that initiative with about 50 other state restaurant associations. Save Small Businesses Florida. Smallbusinessesflorida.com is another way to register your business, to be able to tip your people. There's a bunch of different ways that we have and we're partnered with to save money.
And is it only, and let me ask you, because I don't know this answer.
Yes.
And I think people will be asking this. Restaurants only?
We can help any restaurant. We can help hotels, cafes, any business that if you take merchant service and you're a provider, we can help you. If you
So
are
any
the
small
right
business that takes merchant service.
payroll, PEO, HR, needs a POS system, needs an online website. We're one of the providers through DigiPro Media, through 88 websites. That's a big thing. Everyone's getting sued. Everyone's getting hit for those things. So we can help them. It's just basically we listen and say, hey, Ted, what are your needs? What do you need help with? And you tell us, and then we're like, all right, let me make the introduction here to our channel partner. Let me make my introduction here to our other channel partner. And then it's basically we hand you off and you are getting the discounts that you normally wouldn't be able to get. And you can't get them unless you are a member of HIVE, and it costs you nothing to be a member of HIVE.
What are, I mean, I love it. So small business, anybody who's got those kinds of needs can go to you. I mean, I think that I had a couple of people message me when I posted this morning. I guess they went and they looked and they're like, is it just restaurants? And I said, I don't think so. I think it's small business in general, because that volume, when you mentioned DirecTV, I mean, that could be across the board. There's just so many different things so many different businesses. So what are you seeing coming up? Because we talked a teeny bit about this right before we went live. What are you seeing coming up in the industry? Are you getting any feel for what we're going to see in May? Because as you mentioned before we went live, the order ends April 30th.
So May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Yep. So there's a couple of different things. Unfortunately, the way we did business was the norm before 3 months ago. It was not going to be the norm moving forward. You're going to see a lot more legislation and cracking down in the hospitality industry and in any industry. A lot more sanitation, handless, touchless hand washing sinks, touchless soap dispensers, touchless, door openers where you're going to open them up with the heel of your foot. You're going to have a lot more cashless payment systems. You're going to go to contactless, ordering. There's going to be a lot more distancing in between the way we conduct the business, not so much the industry itself as far as that, a lot more geared towards sanitation. The second thing is what we touched on is that there's two executive orders. Executive Order 2052 stated the 50% occupancy and the 10 people in the restaurant. And that expired already on April 17th. So that expired last Friday at 12:01 a.m. That was the one that kind of limited everything. Then the governor went after that and said, all right, we're going to close down all non-essential businesses. And that was Executive Order 2091. Well, Executive Order 2091 expires right now, May 3rd at 12:01 a.m. The way it reads is if he doesn't change anything, they are, unless he in the next 13 days, 12 days and 12 hours, business should be able to open back up unless he does it. Jacksonville already opened its beaches. Some of the other places are already laxing some of their recreation and parks. I don't know about the big gatherings of like your sporting events. I haven't heard anything like that, but for the restaurants, executive order that shelter in place right now, 2091 expires, and anyone can go on the Florida website and just Google Executive Order 2091. It says that right there, plain as day, expires as of May 3rd at 12:01 a.m.
So do you have any recommendations or thoughts on how restaurants, small businesses should prepare in being optimistic because May 3rd, just because it opens doesn't mean everybody and their brother is going to hit the restaurant at once. I feel like there's still going to be this, okay, 6 feet apart. Am I supposed to do that? What am I doing?
Absolutely.
Am I wearing masks? How am I going to eat? So is there anything you can tell the restaurants and small businesses that they can do to maybe prep for that day, the open?
Absolutely. So that day right there, I would think about, again, your cash position, 30, 60, 90 days. What are you going to do to get your key staff? Because the restaurant and any small business right now is in a great position to hire better quality employees. There's a plethora of people out there that they laid off. There's a lot of businesses that won't reopen. So the talent pool has been elevated, and that's across the board. Chefs, managers, anything. I think that take your time, make a right pick, do that. Focus on your sanitation. Make sure you have a plan in that, because if, like you touch on it, are we going to have the 6 feet of distancing? Are we going to have to wear masks? Maybe that's part of your offering. Maybe that if you're not online right now, your business is flatline. There's been more people that are online right now engaging in this. And if people do not know that you will offer masks, or is that going to be a commonplace, or little sanitizers, or hey guys, we're preparing to open, we're installing a hand washing sink in the front, a touchless one in the front of the restaurant, or hand sanitizers throughout, or letting people know after you leave, this is how we are going to clean every table, so feel free to come in. To touch on what you just said, let people know that we've changed. It's the new norm of how we are going to fight this moving forward and deal with it to get back open. I think that's going to be huge.
I think if people have to plan, so plan for it, be positive, be optimistic, cautiously if you want, but still plan for it, because you don't want to just go from May 2nd to May 3rd or whenever it is, and then all of a sudden you have no idea what your plan is. People aren't going to come to you. People are going to ask you questions at your business and your restaurant. Hey, do you have this? Like all those things you mentioned earlier, I'd want to know. I want to know as we're going in, because just because it's lifted doesn't mean there aren't people walking around with it. So if we're going to open it so business can be positive and can be out there and we can start making money again in a way that is good and going to keep these places alive, they have to be prepared for the questions that the consumer are going to ask.
There's actually even so we have to have the equal employment opportunity and the workers' comp posters in the back. Well, there is some mandated posters that you have to actually post now that are going to be related to the coronavirus and any type of these pandemic or epidemic kind of style things, not just the COVID, but you have to be able to, how you can screen your employees. Are you able to screen employees? Yes, the answer is yes. They want you to screen your employees as they come back. If they look like they have signs, if they've been exposed, there's a whole arm of that that people need to be informed, but you need to prepare. You don't want to be the one that comes May 3rd as business as usual, and then you takes 2 weeks to have a plan. Whether that plan is small with you just opening gradually and maybe having that a little couple limited items, I think you should do that. I think you should follow the state legislation site, look in the executive orders that might be coming out and just see. But as of right now, you need to have a plan, because right now you don't want to be behind the gun. You start recouping some of that loss and some of that revenue that you didn't have.
All right. So how do people reach you? How do people get in touch with you? What's the best way that they can find out how you all can collaborate, how they can be part of HIVE?
So the easiest way is you can go to our website, www.hivevoc.com, or call 833 HIVE VOC, and there'll be someone there to answer the phone, or you can go online, fill out any forms, and then we'll get back to you. Anyone, doesn't matter what you are, you just go to www.hivevoc.com or 833-HIVEVOC.com. Call.
Awesome. All right. So what are you doing personally, aside from HIVE, aside from everything else? What are you doing personally to stay positive, creative, optimistic, to kind of stay ahead of the curve yourself?
Well, I was one of those ones that went out there and got the UVC lights. So I have like the UVC, the clean room lights. So we have those for the house. I have those for our restaurant partners. We're installing them in our filters and our fans. Beyond that, for preparing for in the house, I've been cooking a lot. I've been posting videos because I'm not going to lie, I do miss the creativity of being in a restaurant, being a chef. But I don't want to own 10 of them anymore. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have 8 of them. I don't want to have 6 of them. I don't want to have any of them. I like what I do now. I get to stay home, but the creative juices, I do miss that. So I like cooking. I've been posting some videos from home while we've been locked up and sheltering in place. The kids and everyone's been eating well.
Well, Dad is a chef. I would imagine. What's your favorite thing to make? You're making me hungry.
So I love Italian food. I love Italian or Mediterranean. And when I say Mediterranean, I don't mean just Greek food, because people think Mediterranean is Greek. I mean like Turkish food, Italian, French, Spanish, Moroccan. I lived there in the Mediterranean on 3 separate occasions, and I love that whole area. I say that was probably my favorite area, is the Mediterranean, that whole Mediterranean Sea. So, but my heart is Italian food. I love making pasta from scratch and everything Italian. That is my cup of tea.
I love it. We'll have to get you on. We'll do a show when we're out of this insanity and have you cook. I don't know how to make anything but cheese toast. So me in the kitchen is always an interesting thing, but I love to learn.
Yeah,
so
I love teaching.
love to have that.
All right, man, I love cooking.
Yeah. Well, watch his videos. Are they on your personal site or on the Hive site?
They're on my personal, well, my personal Facebook page are on there, and then you probably can find some on YouTube from when I used to cook on things, but basically on my personal Facebook page.
All right, I tagged that, guys. I also tagged Hive VOC. Jason, thank you so much for what you're doing. Guys, reach out to him. This is the time. I mean, if you haven't already started, now we fired the gun. It's time to really start thinking about it and reaching out. And we're all going to be in that mode of what do we do next? And why not reach out to some people who have the resources like Jason and his team. So thanks, buddy, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Ted, thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll have you back, though. I have to learn how to cook something other than cheese toast, brother.
We got you. Thank you, man.
Bye, buddy. Thank you so much.